The Tale of Kwaku Ananse, a story of wisdom and secrets. I'll never forget the day I stumbled upon Kwaku Ananse's secret. The forest was quiet that morning, too quiet. I had gone to check my traps, hoping for a rabbit or two, when I saw him, Ananse, crouched low beneath a large baobab tree, leading to a confrontation with the village elder, Nana Bosompim, who teaches a valuable lesson about sharing wisdom. His back was to me, but I could hear him whispering to something. As I stepped closer, my heart raced. Ananse was speaking to a calabash, and from inside I heard voices, many voices. It sounded like all the elders of the village were inside that small calabash, arguing and shouting. I froze, the basket in my hand slipping to the ground. What kind of magic was this? Kwaku Ananse quickly turned around, his beady eyes locking with mine. "You shouldn't have seen this, Kojo," he hissed. My legs were like stone, unable to move as he started walking toward me. "Koyo, my dear farmer," Ananse said, his tone shifting to false sweetness. "You've seen something you shouldn't. This calabash holds the wisdom of the world, all of it. I've spent years collecting it from the sky god and every elder in the land. Do you understand what that means?" I couldn't speak. My throat was dry, my hands trembling. Ananse stepped closer, his crooked smile widening. "Now, if you tell anyone about this, I'll have to silence you. Forever." I swallowed hard. "I won't tell," I whispered. "I swear." Ananse narrowed his eyes. "Good, but just to make sure, you'll have to do something for me." He explained his plan. He wanted me to spread a rumor that he had found gold deep in the forest. He said it would keep the villagers distracted while he prepared to move the calabash somewhere safer. I nodded, knowing I had no choice. But as I walked back to the village, a knot tightened in my chest. I couldn't shake the feeling that Ananse's wisdom would bring nothing but trouble. Nana Bosompim, who teaches a valuable lesson about sharing wisdom. The next morning, the village was buzzing with excitement. "Kojo says there's gold in the forest," one man shouted. Women and children ran to tell their neighbors, and soon, nearly every able-bodied person was heading into the forest with picks and shovels. I stayed behind, watching the empty streets and feeling a deep sense of guilt. But as I sat on my porch, the village elder, Nana Bosompim, approached. His walking stick tapped against the ground as he squinted at me. "Koyo," I stammered, trying to come up with an answer, but Nana Bosompim held up a hand. "I've lived long enough to know that gold doesn't just appear. Tell me the truth, boy." Before I could stop myself, the whole story spilled out, the calabash, the voices, and Ananse's plan. Nana Bosompim's face darkened. "This is bad, Kojo, very bad. If Ananse has the wisdom of the world, he holds power no man should have. We must act before it's too late." That night, under the cover of darkness, Nana Bosompim gathered a small group of trusted villagers. We crept into the forest, following the path I had taken the day before. My heart pounded as we approached the baobab tree. There he was, Kwaku Ananse, spinning a web around the calabash, murmuring strange words. His spindly legs moved with precision, and the web glowed faintly in the moonlight. "Ananse!" Nana Bosompim's voice boomed, startling even the crickets. "You have stolen what belongs to the people. The wisdom of the world is not yours to keep." Ananse laughed, a chilling sound that echoed through the forest. "Fools! Do you know what I've sacrificed to gather this wisdom? It belongs to me now. If you try to take it, you'll regret it." But Nana Bosompim was undeterred. "Wisdom grows when it is shared, Ananse. Hoarding it will be your downfall." At that moment, Ananse lunged at us, his web spinning wildly. The villagers and I scattered, but Nana Bosompim stood firm. He raised his staff, striking the calabash. The web unraveled, and the calabash cracked open. A brilliant light poured out, and the voices inside rose into the sky like a whirlwind. When the light faded, Ananse lay sprawled on the ground, defeated. The calabash was empty, its magic gone. He looked up at Nana Bosompim, his eyes full of rage. "You've ruined everything!" he spat. But Nana Bosompim only shook his head. "No, Ananse, I've saved you from yourself. Wisdom belongs to all, not to one." The next morning, the villagers returned from the forest, disappointed to find no gold. But they listened intently as Nana Bosompem told them what had happened. "Wisdom is like the wind," he said. "It cannot be trapped or owned. It is meant to flow freely, to guide us all." As for Ananse, he slunk away into the shadows, muttering under his breath. He would return to his tricks, of course, but the villagers were wiser now. But I learned something important. Secrets, no matter how cleverly kept, always find their way into the light. The end.